Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai, and welcome to Jagadambe Reads the Holy Books of India, Mahabharata421. As you may remember, Arjuna made a lake. Krishna was extremely pleased with this display of prowess by Arjuna. "Well done," said Krishna, and went to his horses to bring them to the lake. He released the grateful animals from the chariot. His eyes were wet when he looked at the dear animals. Very gently he pulled out many arrows, which had been lodged in their bodies. The entire army was watching the performance with wonder and admiration. Arjuna was fighting on foot all the time. He was very cool. The Kauravas were all admiration for Arjuna and Krishna. They said, "What a miracle! In the midst of the field has been created a lake. With a single arrow, Arjuna has been able to do this. The water birds have begun to collect in the sky at the sight of the lake." No one was interested in fighting. They were all watching Krishna as he tended the horses. The smile on the face of Krishna was bewitching. He looked as though he were in the midst of his gopis in Gokul, and not in the midst of warriors who were bent on killing Arjuna. His calmness upset the morale of the Kauravas. Without showing any flurry, Krishna stroked and massaged the horses. Even as the Kauravas were looking on, he spoke to the horses gently and made them relax. They were rested for a while. Krishna was skilled in the art of handling horses, and his loving touch was enough to cure them of all fatigue. He made them drink water to their heart's content. Coolly, he yoked them again to the chariot. They looked as fresh as newly opened flowers. Krishna brought the chariot to Arjuna and stood it in front of him. Quite some time was spent in this incident, but it was essential for the horses. It also helped to impress on the enemies the fact that Krishna and Arjuna were not worried about the waning of daylight. It looked as though they did not care about the passage of time. They were so sure of their winning. This had a great effect on the army. Arjuna ascended the chariot. They hurried to the spot where Jayadratha was stationed. Their speed was greater than that of the wind. Killing the army on either side, they proceeded like a forest conflagration which spreads, aided by the wind. They reached the end of the Vyuha, the formidable Padma Vyuha of Drona. They were to enter the last Vyuha. The Kauravas thought that Arjuna would not be able to cross the several Vyuhas, but these two had managed to do the impossible. The sons of Dhritarashtra were desperate. They all surrounded these two. The progress of the chariot was also impeded. Arjuna just smiled at Krishna. They did not care for the obstruction. They passed them all by. Arjuna had passed Dumarshana and Drona the Terrible. He had passed Kritavarma, and he had destroyed all the kings who had dared to cross him. He had now almost reached the end of the journey. It looked certain that Jayadratha would be killed. Krishna and Arjuna could now see him. He was terrified, and they were jubilant. Looking at these two proceeding at such a fast rate, Duryodhana came in front of them with a desire to protect Jayadratha. He had the armor of Drona to protect him. He stood in front of the chariot of Arjuna. Krishna said, "Arjuna, the lord of the Kauravas, Duryodhana himself, has come and wants to fight a duel with you. You must be careful. He's a powerful opponent. His arrows can travel a long distance. He's hard to fight. He will justify his name. Duryodhana is a great fighter on the chariot. He has been brought up in the lap of luxury. He's very proud and highly sensitive." Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you for coming. I hope you come again.